What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? There we go. Hey, Simon, Garth, the fingers. Cheers, guys. GT Taylor, thank you very much. We'll just let everybody get in here, get in the groove, get in the mood, get in the slot frame of mind. How's everybody doing? Anybody watch the Formula One race today? It was a pretty good race, although, um, they're still plagued with the thing that whoever basically leads the first lap is going to win the race, unfortunately. A little disappointing that that's the case. A little bit of a procession, as people call it. But, what are you going to do? It's what we got for Formula One anyway. Tried to watch a little bit of the GT America race today. It was okay. Coverage wasn't that great. How's everybody doing? Oh, wait. Okay, sorry, just got a message there. I'm going to turn off my beep, my ringer. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Couldn't have made it without you, John. You were a big supporter of mine right from the start. Everybody, there's only a few people. Well, there's 20 people. If you're not following John Kitt Fast Sports, you need to go. You need to do that, please. Follow John. He's a great guy. He's a good friend, and he was instrumental in being very. He was instrumental in me kind of starting the channel in earnest, and it meant a lot to have his support early on before I really started doing much here on the channel, and it really means, it means everything, Really, really appreciate it. Hello, Gotham. Hello, John. Hello, Coffin. Hello, Michael. The fingers, yes. Simon, yes. Got all you guys. Great. Very, very good, guys. Very good, guys. So, when we actually get going, let's get in the frame there, shall we? Like we know what we're doing. Oscar, cheers, Oscar. I don't know if you saw this last week, Oscar, but I'm going to show you again. You sent me those big stickers, and there you go. I took that the Carrera logo off there and put a huge your sticker across there like it's a big banner. It's just stuck on there, and I think it looks great. I'm loving it. I am loving it. And I got that in position so we can see it. Yes, Oscar from Slot Invasion. He's a big supporter of mine. Please, everybody, support him. Hello, Kevin. Thank you, John. Please remember you're successful because of your efforts. Yes, John, but support from friends, mentors, all the above is very, very, very much appreciated, and it's good mazel, as my Jewish friends say. Anyway, so when Electric will find out, we'll send out the new Mustang. Oh, you mean the Trans Am-ish Mustang? I don't know. I would not expect that classic Mustang to show up before the end of the year, guys. You should not expect that car to show up before fourth quarter. Hello, Donald. Hello, Darren. Hello, DC. Yeah, so I would not expect any new cars that have been announced by Skeletric. Hey, Steve. Cheers. Yes, thank you very much, Gotham. Cheers, Gotham. Cheers. Yes, please like the stream if you like the stream. If you don't, I'm sorry. I'll do my best. I'll do better. So any cars that were announced by Skeletric, excuse me, early this year for this year, anything that's a new mold, right? Anything that's not, just a new paint job on a car, don't expect it before fourth quarter of this year. This is a new mold, the new Porsche. See if it'll focus. Will it focus? Get a little further away. Oh, 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 oh. It should focus. There, get a little further away. Anyway, I don't know why. So fourth quarter, guys. Fourth quarter. Hey Mario. Cheers, guys. Hey Sean. Cheers. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Okay. So today we're gonna kind of talk about a couple things. I did want to make note if there's anybody that still wants stickers. These are stickers that Oscar sent me, by the way, from Slot Invasion. Please go check out Slot Invasion. They're great. They're great products. Um, you can message me. You can email me. I still have stickers available. Anyway, there we go. Hello, does it apply to slot it? Yes. So all new molds pretty much are generally fourth quarter releases for pretty much any company. If there's something that they announce at the beginning of the year, it's unlikely that whatever that is going to come until closer to the end of the year. So, the good thing about slotted stuff, they tend to keep us, I mean, Skill Electric does too. They do tend to keep us pretty well updated about the progress of cars, of new cars. When I'm in England next month, I will be talking with Maurizio. I got something in my eye. Sorry, guys. I will be talking with Maurizio about cars this year, releases this year, and then when I talk to Simon, I'll hope that. Well, actually, frankly, I'm expecting both of them will have samples available there that I will videotape and report back. So y'all will get to see the kind of the updates from the Slot Festival in England, and I'm hoping that there's some good stuff in there soon. Yeah, I agree, John. This is a really great. It's a really great livery on this car, Canadian team, and as you can see, this is just kind of happenstance. But the place where we get our phone cases, it's called Loopy, because it has this nice loop, and it makes it really hard to drop your phone. If you have a new phone, I highly recommend these cases. I'm not an affiliate, by the way, but this was one of the latest phone cases, and it's plaid, so it's kind of cool. So as soon as I saw that case, I thought, I need that case. Great, Kevin. Glad you got the stickers. Hello, Jersey Mike. Hello, Jay. Hello, Jay Eisenhard. Any thoughts on Mid America slot cars? So they are Mid America is more commercial track stuff. I know Roger. If I think that's Roger you're talking about. I know Roger. Roger's a great guy. Um, they make a lot of different things. He actually produces a lot of different car parts and cars, and I mean, he makes a ton of stuff. He's a great guy, and if you're into commercial track racing, buy his stuff. He's a good guy. Um, any Valiant Charger slot cars? Sorry, no Valiant Charger slot cars. Um, okay, so today we are. Hey Don, cheers. Thanks, Ello from Kentucky. Very cool, very cool. I'm a big fan of Kentucky. Been there a bunch. To Bowling Green for the what do you call it? The Corvette Museum. I used to do a lot of events there. So today we're going to talk about two things before I get distracted by chat again. um, we're going to do kind of a what's in the box, but not exactly. I got a bunch of prototypes lined up here. These are all uh, actually prototypes. They're not like uh, cars that I got first, or however you want to put it. These are cars that were initially produced cars to see how the mold would look or the decoration would look on a car. I'll explain more of that kind of as I go along. Um, and I'm going to talk about slot car prices, kind of in relation to what's going on in the market. Let me get some some chat here. Kevin, not exactly tartan, but close enough. Yes, my family is actually on my mom's side. My grandmother's family is Scottish. The name is Ramsey, so we have a plaid. Um, yeah, I don't have a kilt. I was thinking about I should get a kilt though. That would be awesome. Um, and about the shirt. Um, this was a friend of mine, is a friend of mine who had cancer and was getting over it. And we did his family did a, we got your back, Mac. They did a shirt as like a fundraiser for his family. So that's why I'm wearing the shirt. And it just happened to be what I wanted to wear. Uh, Officially a Canadian tuxedo, yes. Um, so Jersey Mike says, Dave, I was looking at the Carrera catalog. How can I order them? You mean the cars in the Carrera catalog? You can pre-order them from your favorite dealer. Most cars that are shown in the catalog get released throughout the year. Sorry, this is not going out of my eye. So it takes, during the year, cars get rolled out throughout the year. But I would strongly suggest you pre-order cars from whatever dealer you normally buy from. I'm not gonna, LEB are friends of mine, friends of the stream here. But if you deal with other people, look, I get it. That's fine. Um, so, someone asked any Ninco rumors. Well, yes and no. um, I guess I can say this. A friend of mine was talking with Ninco to maybe distribute them here in the U.S. And uh, he wanted my opinion. And I looked back through kind of what they have available now, and I'm not in love with it. They do an awful lot of what's called market goods radio control stuff, which is stuff that they put their name on that they buy from other Chinese companies that they don't actually produce. They just put their name on. In the toy business, that's called market goods. Um, so they're kind of generic RC cars. They do still do slot cars, but they're not highly detailed cars like we're used to with this kind of stuff. It's mainly vacuum form, but not vacuum form like you're maybe thinking with, a high end chassis. It's like a plastic chassis, so it's meant to be like a super cheap car. Um, so I told my friend that unless, hold on, let me move this here, unless they were willing to reintroduce a number of their older cars, and I didn't really give him a list, but I told him, the generally what cars I was talking about. And he talked with Ninco about doing this, and they essentially had no interest whatsoever in redoing those kinds of cars. So, as disappointing as that is, because I really love Ninco cars, uh, I was hoping, I was hoping that they would come back. I was hoping that there'd maybe be a way that I could help my friend build that business here in the U.S. But no dice. So I don't see them I don't see them coming back anytime soon. The way that people might think a comeback would actually be. Um, so sorry. Flavored water, La Croix, LaCroix. If you're not a French speaker. Um, any other? No. Okay. So let's talk. Yes, exactly. It is a bummer, guys. I'm sorry. Um, so let's talk about slot car prices. The economy relating to slot cars. A favorite topic of mine. Forgive me if this bores people, but I think it's important to note because um, something kind of struck me when I saw this car arrive, and then the Skelectric car, the new Porsche GT3R. Uh, so I saw this, and I was, excuse me, getting excited about the car's release, and of course, I mean, it's a great car regardless of what it's going to cost. Um, the retail cost on this is, and I made notes because I wanted to get this all right. The retail cost on this MSRP is $64.99. It's a bit spendy, no? Um, I I know I don't begrudge anyone trying to make money. This is a business, right? People have to. I mean, you have people to pay, you have salespeople to pay, you have overhead to pay, you have licenses to pay. This business it's expensive. So it's unfortunate that Skelextric's MSRP has gone up this high. They are not taking extra profit trying to gouge. We're going to set all that completely aside. So the main thing is material cost in China, production cost in China, shipping from to and from literally anywhere is astronomical now. That's actually a lot of the cost is in containers. Like I mentioned this before, a shipping container that might have cost $2,500 to rent a few years ago is now $20,000. It is not cheap. Hey, Area 51, cheers for showing up. Yes, yes, the collections have increased in value. Not a thing that I like to talk about too much because I don't see slot cars as an investment at all. So this car is $64, $65 when it comes out. That's expensive. It's unfortunate. The problem really is, with this kind of car, Skelectric cars are meant to appeal to the broadest possible audience. So kids, as well as probably hobbyists as well. Although Skelectric really doesn't go after the hobbyist market. I had long conversations with Simon and Martin. Simon, who's now in charge of the department or in charge of the brand, and Martin, who was his predecessor, about this. And it's really, they don't really go after the hobbyists in England. They go after the everyman. They go after the kid market, the family market. This is, I think, about 50 pounds now, $65. That's incredibly expensive. Unfortunately, that's just what they have to raise their prices to. So to put that in a little context, the NSR GT3 is the newest one, the pink one. And these are all LEB prices or Skelectric prices. Is $86.99 for an NSR car. So for only um, a couple dollars more, you can get a really, really, really high end car, really high quality car, metal parts, good soft rubber tires, uh, good braid connection, wire connection, I should say. You get so much more. Unfortunately, you have to look at it in these terms now. And again, I'm not bashing Skelectric. I'm really not, because they don't want to raise their prices just to raise their prices. Uh, the slotted GT3 Maserati, essentially, this Maserati, although a decorated one, which is the one that they have available now, is less than the Skelectric car. This high quality, all adjustable, crazy fast, really high end, not collector car, but hobbyist grade car is less money. Unfortunate. Also, some other prices. The Scale Auto GT3 RSR, $74. I mean, $10 more, and you get a Scale Auto car. The Carrera RSR Pink Pig, inexplicably, then this is the Evolution one, is still $36.99. How in the wide world of sports are they able to keep those prices so low? When I worked for them, when I worked for Carrera, we got good pricing from Stadelbauer, from our parent company. Then we'd have to buy the cars from them at a certain price. The Hong Kong office took their cut. Stadelbauer took their cut, and then we would pay Stadelbauer for our inventory. You're basically just transferring money between the different parts of the company. That's all it was. But I still don't know how Carrera is able to keep a 1/32 analog car with lights now, I believe. How are they able to keep these prices this low when Scalextric car is almost double the price? It's unfortunate for Scalextric. I believe that you're going to see certain dealers stop carrying as much Scalextric. There's going to be a lot less brought into the U.S. because of the price increases of each car I'm talking about. So there'll be, the normal releases, the American stuff. They'll still have to make a certain quantity of them, and then Scalextric USA will have to bring them into the U.S. But the price is going to be fairly steep on them, like $65. So what you'll see is there's going to be a lot less available probably this year. I don't really see the price going down on stuff anytime soon. The microchip shortage is definitely influenced a lot of prices in a lot of different markets, and that I don't think is going to change anytime soon, unfortunately. So I definitely think we're going to see, we're going to see price increases. Stay where they are. I really don't think you're going to see a huge drop in the Scalextric stuff anytime soon, unfortunately. And excuse me, you might see some price increases from some of the other companies as well. John Fastsport says accountants make the world go right and dictate. Yeah, exactly. Dictate the direction. Car Tricks, I believe they are still making cars. Yes. Prices aren't going down. Exactly. DC. It's not the way capitalism works. Not bashing capitalism, but businesses. This is not a charity, right? Businesses are in business to make their shareholders happy, to make money, and that's fine. But it's not a charity. But we're all going to be voting essentially with our pocketbooks, right? As as prices continue to go up, do you buy a slotted car? Do you buy a Scalextric car? Well, if you're into Scalextric digital, and you're not really someone who can solder, put the chip in to a slotted car, or you're doing Carrera digital, you got to make choices, right? And that's unfortunately where we are. Kevin says maybe Carrera had a lot of inventory warehouse. I highly doubt it, because they've gone to what's called a third party warehousing. So literally they have to pay for every single square inch of space at the warehouse that houses the stuff. When I worked for Carrera of America, we had our own warehouse, which meant that we had the overhead of the cost of the warehouse and the cost of the people that worked at the warehouse, but we didn't actually have to pay, huge fees and shipping fees just to ship stuff out. Third party warehousing is much more efficient if you want to really pare down the amount that you're offering and not have to worry about having the overhead of real estate or having rent or having, a large staff. Because I think we had about a dozen people that worked for the company when I worked there. And now I'd be shocked if they had 4 people or 5 people that work for the company here in the US anymore. So if anything, Carrera America would have a lot less in stock, a lot less in a warehouse, and they would keep it closer, keep the inventory levels closer to being sold out or wanting to sell out as quickly as possible. So they're not going to want to have a lot of inventory because it costs them to have it sit there. And then if it doesn't sell out, then they have the cost of it sitting there. So they want to run as close to sold out as possible. I mean, all the distributors really do. It's not like what you think of as a true distribution, where they stock things for years and years and years, continuously made products or parts that'll sit for years or cars that'll sit for years. The companies that I've worked for here, I mean, there's only have been 3, and there are only 3 companies here. SCX was the same way when we had third-party distribution from different people. Carrera of America talked about it the same. We would try to hit the number just right, so we'd bring in just as many cars as we need, and then only have, maybe 10% of what we brought in left over from the order. And then Scale Electric is the same way. You try to get as close to the possible to the number that you're going to sell, so you don't have as many just sitting there, because inventory just sitting in a warehouse doesn't do anybody any good. You need to move the stuff out. Yes, Area 51, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So they have all the stuff. They had to move all the stuff down to Atlanta, and now they have to pay for every square of paper that they print out, every order. You could charge nickel and dime for literally everything when you do a third party distribution, fulfillment distribution like they've done. We looked into this when I worked for Carrera of America, and we didn't do it because of just the prices, the cost of doing that is so astronomically high. Um, it's just not doesn't benefit you really. It benefits you more to have the overhead of a warehouse. So yeah, how Carrera is still able to keep these prices, I'll never know. All righty, what do we got? A couple questions here. Maybe Brexit has had an influence on the price. No, I don't think so, because it doesn't affect. Uh, it doesn't affect shipping into the U.S. It's shipping directly from China. Has nothing to do with, even if Brexit was involved, it would be more. Brexit was shipping from the EU to England or England to the EU, not shipping. That's the European Union. England was part of the European Union. China wasn't, and we weren't. So shipping it from China to the US didn't matter. Shipping it from England to the US didn't matter. It's all just shipping costs. Yeah, yeah, Jay. Before COVID, the company I work for only kept 5 days stock in a warehouse. Yeah, that's playing it really, really close to zero. Just in time, I think is what they call it. Brad says, I think Carrera has the market volume over the others in the U.S. anyway. Um, Carrera has that market dialed in. So, Brad, I worked for Carrera for 7 years, and I can tell you that I know the volume that we were doing in the U.S. when I got let go from Carrera, and then I got hired by Skelectric about less than a year later. I know the volume that Skelectric was doing when I got hired for them. So, with an apples to apples comparison of less than a year's time, less than 6 months' time, I can promise you the business that Carrera of America is doing or was doing when I worked for them to the time when I worked for Skelectric, it's 3 times the amount of volume Carrera is doing with just Carrera. Now that's Carrera Go 132, 124, analog, and the radio control stuff. That's all the Carrera products, because they really don't make, I mean, they make some other nonsense now, bubbles and crap like that, that the stuff isn't selling here. I promise you. The radio control stuff wasn't much of our of our sales. So in just Skelectric and then in just Carrera, it's at least 3 to 4 times Carrera bigger than the Skelectric brand here in the U.S. So there you go. Wonder what big managers make in salary. Well, I'd rather not tell you what I made. I was not a big manager for the company. I was U.S. Marketing manager for Skelectric. I made a decent living. When I worked for Carrera, I made a much better living. Now I make about what I would make it working at Target. Sad to say. So I work for a newspaper now. So, I mean, I wasn't by any means, making a ton of money. I made a decent living for the area I live in. I would have had a very working class salary living in the New York City area, which is where I lived. So people at the larger companies are making pretty decent living for, where they live. It's pretty expensive in England. Yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, any other questions here? Postage to Australia is crazy. Oh, hey, Travis. Cheers, Travis. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Feeling the pinch. Yeah, Travis. It's super expensive to ship to Australia. Yeah. Hey, Salvatore. Yes, Salvatore, I just did get the stickers out to you. I think Friday morning. I made a post, I think, that morning and mentioned to you that when I had gotten them out. So you should be getting them. You should be getting them any day now. Okay, we're done talking about economics, such as it is. My uninformed opinions. USPS sucks. I agree. They do suck. We need a different postmaster. Okay, so we're going to talk about prototypes. What is a prototype? So a prototype is a car that is a sample made by a company to show you what the car might look like when it's actually done. So this is a prototype of the Monte Carlo. Hopefully can this focus? Why are we having a problem with focusing? Is it locked onto my face and it won't unlock? I don't know. A little annoying, not gonna lie. So it's a bare white Monte Carlo. It has frosted glass, and so this would be just one of the first test shots, as they call them, to see what the mold looks like, because you get like they cut the mold for you in China, and you send them the CAD files of what you want it to look like, and then something like this would be, one of the first shots out of the mold, one of the first times they would use the mold, and you can see if the detail on the car is all okay, and it has a shiny plastic. It's kind of a softer plastic chassis, different than the kind of rough chassis. So you can see there's definitely a material difference when you see a prototype. Now, these are generally something that are never released to the public. Most people don't ever even see these because when you show a prototype, people can pick apart what the car looks like. They'll say, oh, this is a little too big, or this is a little too small, or you miss this detail or that detail. By the time, unfortunately, and this doesn't really make a lot of sense, but by the time you get to this state, you would think there would be room to change the mold if something was wrong. Unfortunately, that's not the case because by the time they've cut the metal to make this mold, to make this plastic car, they've already spent 50, 60, 70, $80,000, depending on the car, on the mold, and they don't want to change that mold because that's an expensive mold to change. So, and that's before you even get anything out of the mold. Okay. So, this would be one of the first, it's almost like it's oxymoron, I guess you'd say. It's a prototype, but you would think that there'd be room to change. There unfortunately isn't. It's just to see basically if the mold works, if everything works, like no, there's nothing hitting, so everything is test fit, and there you go. And then you go on to this next step of getting uh, actual decorated samples. Now these also are prototypes. These are cars that I was given, um, but just as the set was coming out, that we had. I think these were from New York Toy Fair, so we could show people what the Monte Carlos look like with the decorations on them. Again, it's the frosted windows, right? So it's the same, but these are painted versions, or well, yeah, they are painted, and these are molded in color. I don't think, yeah, this body is this is a black body, and I think this might be a white body that's painted. Yeah, I think this is a white body that's painted. But so these are not production cars. You can tell because the glass is frosted. So again, these would have been samples that they would have sent to they would have shown to the sales reps. We showed them at toy shows to show people. You know, they're salesman samples basically, or marketing samples, really, not salesmen, because you only get so many of these. But you really these are highly collectible if they're a desirable car, because you know there's only maybe a half a dozen of these made. These test shots, the test molds, the test cars, unpainted, pre-production, way pre-production car. They maybe get a half a dozen of these cars sent from China, and then you get, this is the second step, where you get painted samples. A lot of times, like I have some Carrera prototypes that I'll show. Well, I'm going to show some Carrera ones here in a second, but I have some other Carrera prototypes that I was given way before they were released. Like the last year I was with the company and I kept them. um, and you have to see the difference on the cars is small, but it is there because this decoration, for example, these I think are decals. This is not tampo printing, and that's some way you can tell sometimes is um, a lot of Skeletra cars now. Some of them are tampo printed, so it's actually paint, like tapped onto the car, painted onto the car. But some of them are decals. So like this whole side is probably a decal. All of this is one sheet, and they would have floated on and straightened it. And it's a quick way uh, to get a decoration done on a car. It's a lot cheaper in some ways than a prototype. Let's see if there's any questions here. Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Travis. I appreciate it. Yes, this is something about why you can't really um, uh, why it's the cost is so high. So yeah, as Brad says, 50 to 60,000 just to make the, you know, like a detailed body. So you know, like this body has a little more detail than a Monte Carlo does. So this might be 50 or 60,000 or maybe a little more. The 124 scale cars were, when I worked for them, as far as I knew, pushing $100,000 just for the mold. Now, keep in mind, you know, you got to make a profit on these cars. if the car actually costs in China, now here's information you can't get anywhere else. If a finished car in a box, a car in a case like this, the cost of this car to make in China, get ready for it, folks, might be as low as $5. The motor costs maybe a quarter, maybe a little less. Um, but then you add on all of the shipping costs, you add on all of the licensing costs, you add on all of the prototyping costs, all of the the overhead costs, and then you get to a retail number. If you know, generally speaking, what retailers work on, about a 40% margin, which is not a secret to most anybody who's in the business. Pretty much anybody, if there's people from other businesses here or businesses, other hobby folks, um, if they're lucky, they're getting 40% margin, right? So you can work backwards every step and take out 40%, and you can arrive at the landed cost of a car, um, $16 to $20 maybe. The wholesale cost of a basic car maybe has gone up to $30. It really depends. A lot of this I don't know for sure now because I am not working for any companies. A lot of this would have been based on old knowledge. So don't get too crazy about costs. But as Travis has said, these are things that you're not going to hear from anybody else because nobody in the business wants to talk about this stuff. But I want you to know about this stuff because I think it gives you a better appreciation for the fact that these companies are really trying to do their best. They're not trying to screw people. They're not trying to get extra money out of people. Anyway, okay, so which was first? I think this was first. So the Thunderbird. Okay. This is the prototype I was given of the Thunderbird. Again, shiny plastic chassis. You can see that even if it's not focusing, I'm sorry, I don't know why it's not focusing. You can see that the plastic is shiny, as you know from any Skeletor car. You can see the plastic is more of a matte. You can see the plastic on the bottom of the Monte Carlo is shiny. These actually have clear windows. This is a plain car that is, I had done the research for this car. I had a Thunderbird. I had an 84 SVO Thunderbird, the turbo coupe, they called it. It was the SVO Mustang turbo 4-cylinder. It was a really great engine in a big Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is too small. I'm not going to talk too much about saying negative things about the Thunderbird. I had taken I had taken a lot of I had taken reference photos of the car. I found an actual Thunderbird, a racing Thunderbird, Rainier Racing Thunderbird. It was the Hardee's car in Kentucky, and I took a bunch of pictures of it. So the Thunderbird shapes are really nice. They really did manage to get all the shapes really nice. We worked really hard to get the shapes nice. Unfortunately, I'm going to take a drink here. Hold on. Unfortunately, they didn't get the size right. This is something not a lot of people know, where a real car is measured. Now, this is kind of a side tangent to the prototyping discussion, but a real car is measured here. These are called the A pillars. Most folks know this. A real car the width on a car is measured here at the mirrors, but not including the mirror width. So it's this point kind of on the edge of the doors, not the widest point on the car on the front or the rear. Doesn't include the fenders. This is where you measure a car. If you don't know where to measure a car and you measure it here, and as I was told, you added in extra fenders, which is a good thing that they did. They made this car a little curvier than a standard Thunderbird, and they did get the width right, but they measured it here, not here. So if you go by the width of being here, it's right. You go by it here, it's fairly small. So unfortunately, um, you say that, Slap, but I mean, the Monte Carlo is too large. The IROC, which was another one of my projects, is a little large. I haven't actually measured this. I shouldn't say that. The Thunderbird is definitely too narrow. It's still a nice running car, and the shapes are really nice on the car. But anyway, so I was given this prototype when I went over to England for the first time to see this car, or it was the third trip, I guess. I went over. They gave me this, and I didn't have anything to compare it to at the time. And I realized when I got it home, holy crap! I was just looking at this car, and I'm like, holy crap! This car is. When I compared it to these cars, to the prototype, I mean, this is the Thunderbird is longer than the Monte Carlo in real life. I had I had the Thunderbird, and it was a very large car, and you can see this Thunderbird is considerably shorter, and it should be the same length as the Monte. Anyway, I'm not bashing Skelectric. It may sound like it, but I'm not. I'm just pointing out actual things that are easy to measure if you measure them in the right places. So this would have been one of the first Thunderbirds that was made, and it was approved by Ford, just as these were approved by Chevy. These are not NASCARs; these are stock cars. The decision was made before I got in the company to make the Monte Carlos, and unfortunately, Harry wise, everybody please follow Home Racing World here. You got to follow Home Racing World. You gotta follow Home Racing World. Harry is the slot father. We're all anyway. So the Monte was or the Thunderbird was approved by Ford. What are you gonna do? So another prototype that I got here is an IROC. This would have been one of the first IROCs that was made. Now this car has the wheels. They're kind of like a BBS style wheel. I know you can't see it. Not sure why the camera isn't focusing, but it isn't. This is, again, you can see the shiny plastic. I almost want to say metal every time. The shiny plastic. This car has a little bit of a problem with the tires hitting the inside of the body. I think they may have changed this before they released this car. These tires are the same as the Monte Carlo tires, I believe. And when I was in England and I first got handed this prototype, the designer said, "Oh, well, something about this being a NASCAR, the IROC." Oh, it just absolutely killed me to hear that. It's unfortunate that, and I don't want to paint too broad a brush here, but everywhere I've worked, SCX, Skelectric, even Carrera to an extent, any American car is thought of as a NASCAR. I'm not downing NASCAR. I like NASCAR, but just the assumption that every American car is a NASCAR is, it's a little infuriating, especially a little infuriating. It's like being a little pregnant. You either are furious or you're not. So this would have been one of the first IROCs. the IROC shape it's okay. We went through a lot of different versions of this body. I still have all of the CAD files where I circled things or did drawings because I was sent uh, PDFs of CAD pictures to approve the shape on this car. Um, the shape's not great. I do take. I mean, it was me that signed off on it. Um, there was some pretty glaring things that I missed, and I am sorry for that. But I'm happy that because this was one of the cars that I was hoping to get done in during my career. There's another car that you may see in the next couple of years that was another car that I'm still hoping to get produced. I really wanted to move the generations of cars forward into the 80s because these are the cars that I grew up with as a teenager. And I felt like the market was moving forward. Harry and I always talk about this kind of thing. Um, the fact that you can't keep making all just Porsches and Ferraris and sports cars and stuff all from the 60s and 70s. At some point, you have to move forward and get some new stuff. And slap, no, it's not America's fault. Uh, NASCAR is only broadcast on one network. It's not broadcast all across every network. Um, it's the dominant form of racing because it's the only form of racing that the manufacturers support in the U.S. It's the car company's fault if you want to look at it like that. Um, BMW makes really great sedans, arguably better than anything American car companies make. Japan makes some great, Hondas, Toyotas. They're made in the U.S. Arguably, they're better quality than any other American cars. You can't blame America. You can't blame NASCAR. It's it's only shown on one channel. It's one company gets a license, one TV show channel gets a license, and that's the only one that shows it. And then ESPN does nothing but talk about that and never talks about other kinds of sports car racing. Anyway, no NASCAR hate here. Trust me, no hate. Um, so this would have been, one of the first IROC cars made. And again, this would have been judged for the shape. Unfortunately, when I was handed this, it was far too late to make any changes. Um, would have been a lot of changes that I would like to have made. Well, I wasn't able to do them, but you live, you learn, you do these projects. I mean, Harry has been involved in so many different projects as well. Harry behind the scenes has done, many, many more projects than I have. Hasn't really talked a lot about it. I talk about it. Make no apologies. Harry is the slot father. We get to a couple questions here or a couple comments. See if there's anybody here. More cowbell. Yes, please, more cowbell. More Mopars, Robert says. Absolutely more Mopars. I wish a company, Brad Sanders said, there we go. I wish a company would make sprint cars, modern wing or non-wing sprints. If they make F1 cars, they could make sprint cars. No, and here's why. Formula One cars sell all over the world. Sprint cars are only going to sell in the U.S. Sprint cars are not supported. They're not the premier type of racing done in the U.S. Yes, I'm aware that far more people actually go to dirt tracks all over the U.S. than will ever go to NASCAR, than have ever gone to NASCAR. I'm aware of that. I prefer dirt track racing. I've shot a lot of it as a photographer, and I absolutely love it. Those kinds of cars would never sell outside of the U.S., period. And you can't really go to a track and promote them there because there's too many tracks all over the U.S. Uh, Also on a dirt surface, and I know they race on asphalt as well, but on a dirt surface, I've had slot car tracks near dirt surface tracks, and it is a nightmare keeping a slot car track clean when you're doing marketing events near a dirt track. So, unfortunately, I would beg to differ that sprint cars would sell well because they have zero market outside of the US. Having said that, it's like asking for modified cars. Look, I mean, I've talked about it at the various companies I worked for. Unfortunately, I mean, it's too much of a risk. It just is. Um, yeah. Anyway, okay. So Carrera product. Oh, hold on. We got another question here. Dave, what was the little cars that were 143rd? Oh, yes, that didn't sell, the big dune buggies. Yeah, so Carrera made 143rd scale dune buggies. Beautiful little molds, beautiful little cars. And I would have thought, I mean, we put them with a really nice, I worked at the company at the time. We made really nice brown track. I think I have some of the brown track here somewhere. Hold on, let me look. Can I get to it? Yes, there it is. This is the Carrera. Yes, we made really nice off-road looking track with little dirt, little pile. There you go. You can see it sort of textured, beautiful. It's a beautiful model of a track. There's tracks in the dirt. This is like, and I love this surface. Unfortunately, even this amount of bumpiness, which is not much, maybe 2 millimeters, threw off the balance of the cars and made the cars pretty unstable. So what we found was that these sets weren't really all that popular because after the sale, kids found it really hard to drive on them. But so this is the track, and I don't know where the prototypes of those little dune buggies are. No, I put them away. I'm sorry. But we made little dune buggies. A perfect little thing that you would think would sell really well. Beautiful little cars, $19.99 a piece. We put them in a set. It was a fun little set, not a very expensive set. It took us years to sell out of these cars. We only had, I think we brought in maybe 3,000 pieces of each of the dune buggies. And I mean, these little tiny 143rd scale cars on a blister pack, they were not expensive and they were so nice and they ran really well. And it took us years to sell these things because nobody wanted them. Retailers didn't want them. We had to discount them beyond belief just to move them out. It was a horrible selling car, absolutely horrible. Unfortunately, that's the case. So Carrera prototypes. John, if John Albright is around, oh, here we go. Show. This is, oh boy, unfortunately, this is really not going to focus on me now. Why is that not focusing? That's a pisser. Anyway, so this is a Morgan. This is a prototype of a Morgan. How do we know it's a prototype? There was never a white Morgan made. This was all made one color, which is kind of how Carrera made all of their white cars. But this car was given to me in a box with these two other cars that you'll see in a second, and a whole bunch of essentially model bodies that were available exclusively to the Carrera Club. So in Germany, they would just sell the body on sprues like a plastic model, and you could buy these if you were in the Carrera Club. So I have a whole bunch of, and I should bring them out sometime too. I'm not exactly sure where they are, but I will show you in the next couple of weeks. So this is a prototype of the Morgan. It's a beautiful little car. It's a nice little mold. This is actually a model of Dr. Stedelbauer in there as well. Harry knew the doctor as well. Um, this it's this was a model. The guy driving the car is got a pipe in his mouth. That was a nice little model of the owner of Carrera at the time when I worked for them, Dr. Stadelbauer. Just a sweet guy. Really, really great guy. He owned two real Morgans. He owned the Aeromax like this. I think it was a silver one he owned. And then he also owned the +4 Morgan, the little open top, little old timey looking Morgan. And you can see him in that car as well. It's a guy with a hat on and a pipe in his mouth. That's also um, Dr. Stadelbauer. So anyway, so another Carrera prototype, and this is a completely functional car, I believe. Never had it apart. It's an E200. It's an analog car. You can see the polarity switch under there. I don't think I ever drove this because it was given to me in a whole big box of stuff. And one of the women that I worked with at the time at Carrera, she knew that I was a collector hobbyist guy, so she gave me a big box in Germany one year of just crap off of her desk, all kinds of the amount of stuff that gets stacked up at the companies is, well, it's frightening, quite frankly, because they have so many samples. Usually they get thrown away because there's so much of this stuff made and they can't do anything with it. They can't sell it. They don't need to keep it. They keep one or two samples of each car so they can kind of refer to it if they need to. And the rest of it probably just get thrown away or given to people as gifts like these were for me. So there you go. Morgan prototype. And in the same box were these two prototypes. These are the Opel Manta. There's a red one and a white one, as you can see. How do I know these are prototypes? Neither of these were ever released like these are. I've had these confirmed by a Carrera collector, I guess you'd say, in Germany. He hadn't ever seen these cars, had never seen them released to the Carrera Club. So again, here you go, 3 prototype Carrera cars, all unreleased, whatever. So these would have been like this was the prototype for probably the Carrera version, the marketing car that we made. It's had said Carrera the whole way up the side. I think Harry has one. I think I still have one or two. Um, it was a red Manta and it said Carrera in white up the side. And I used to take that car to marketing events. It was really, really cool because it said, you're like promoting your own brand with a brand on the side of the car. And they didn't think, they said, "Oh, you could sell cars like that?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, of course we could." Sometimes these marketing people who aren't slaughters really don't get it. Anyway, so yeah, again, just a little test car that they would have done just to make sure that everything fit, just to make sure that the mold was good, just to and this is a digital car. Oh, and so is this. You can see the little eye under there. Well, maybe you can't. Yeah, you can. And the polarity switch or the digital to analog switch. Hello, Reese. Hello, TNT. I am talking about prototypes of cars. What Carrera Club? So yes, Opal and green. Yeah, yeah. So these are prototypes. These never would have been sold. Never would have been released. Um, what is the Carrera Club? The Carrera Club is a thing where you pay an annual fee and you get a special edition car from Carrera. You also get a newsletter from them. You get information from them directly from them. But people in the U.S. can't join the Carrera Club because you need a German uh, address to join. And they don't have enough people in the U.S. because that was something before I got let go that they were pushing for me to do, was to start a Carrera Club here in the U.S. where I would have had events here in the U.S. and we would have done a special car for the U.S. and I would have done like a newsletter or something like that for the US. It's just basically, it gives people kind of an inside look at the company, and then you get you pay for a car that's a very special edition car. I still might have a Carrera Club car. Anyway, so they get access to direct sales of parts. The Carrera sells, I believe, directly to them. You get to go to big Carrera events. They do a lot of events in Germany and Europe to an extent, but mainly in Germany. They have like a big race in Salzburg that I believe they still might do. It's called the Geisberg Rennen. It was a historic race, and Andreas Stadelbauer and Dr. Stadelbauer had a lot of vintage cars, like the Morgan, and Andreas had I forget what he had, some kind of BMW, I think, or he might have had a Porsche. I can't remember. They're pretty well off folks, so they have sports cars, that sort of thing. Wait, what's going on here? Who's EJ? What's going on here? EJ? Did I mention something about EJ and I don't know what I'm talking about? Or did I get confused? EJ, who are they? I don't know. Oh, here's my wife. You getting that chicken?
Yep.
Oh, I'm having chicken for dinner. Barbecue chicken. I know that's why you come to the stream, to hear about what I'm going to have for dinner. Anyway, Jersey Mike asks, NSR does some big races. Yes, they do big races in Italy and some other places in Europe, but mainly Italy, I believe, maybe in Spain. Just stay tuned for that. Anybody identify EJ? Who are they? I like their channel. Yeah, Area 51 says, I like their channel, but I can't understand Italian. I've been asking that they do more video content. NSR needs to do more video content. I think, E&J Sprint Cars. Sorry. Yeah, I'm that's out of my area. I'm sorry. I know EJ made, I think in EJ, they made a nice old brass chassis with 1/32 scale, kind of adjustable. Really, really great car. Great chassis. Old kind of chassis. Yeah, I'm really getting into the NSR stuff now that I'm seeing it more, because I hadn't had a lot of it until now. I have samples to look at now, and I'm really loving the kind of the simplicity, I'd say, of their designs, and I love how the pod around NSR, or the space around an NSR pod, there's so much float already that it just naturally wants to go, just kind of right out of the box. I think that's going to be it for today, guys. I hesitate to say this on the stream, but I will anyway. I will be selling these Carrera prototypes. I don't really know what I want for them yet, and I don't know. Anyway, the Morgan, I would sell separately. The two Opals I would have to sell as a pair. You can contact me if you're interested in either the Morgan or the pair of Opals, please. I appreciate everybody stopping by. 84 people. Please give the stream a like if you liked it. If you didn't, let me know what I can do better. I'm trying to up the production quality. That's why I got the new video camera. Thank you again to everybody that contributed. It was overwhelming, the amount of the contributions, and I am so blessed, and it's shocking to me. Thank you, John, for hanging around. I appreciate it. Clint, hey, Rich, hey. Yes, please put a comment, put a like. I really appreciate it. I don't know that I'll have a video during the week. I might. If you've hung around, there a little bit of news. A little bit of news here. There may be how do I put this? The NSR McLarens, the new Golf cars that I shared on the LEB page that NSR just shared, the orange one, the one that basically everyone's waiting for. You need to pre-order this car. Okay. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because demand has evidently outstripped supply. So you must pre-order these cars, the orange ones. There's two liveries or two numbers of the same kind of. This is like the basic kind of. I think it's mango. The basic orange McLaren, not the test cars. I'm talking about the actual first basic race cars. There's going to be a shortage of these basically worldwide. Not a shortage. There's been so much demand. It's not that there's too little or something stupid happened with production or whatever. Demand is astronomical. I got the word today. So pre-order those cars. You heard it here first. Don't miss out. If you want the cars, just get them. A note about the replay. I do have it set to show the live chat in the replay. If you're watching the video on demand any other day than, when I'm live right now, you will be able to see the chat replay to the right side of this window. This way? Yes, this way. The replay of the chat will be over here. It takes a while for that to build and go through the system, just like the HD version of this live stream takes a little while to process in the system. I'm at the highest level of quality that I can broadcast at. It's capped on YouTube, and actually it's capped on the camera, but it's capped on YouTube as well. For live streams, I can go up to 4K or whatever on a video. That's why I'm shooting videos at 4K now. If I remember to change the camera to 4K, gotta remember to do that. So thank you everybody for showing up. Again, please give the video a like if you have liked the video. If I missed any comments, I'm sorry. Put the comments down below under the video. I really appreciate everybody stopping by. I really do. I'm not just saying that. Thanks. See you all again soon.